As you might know, Canterbury Roman Museum is built around the remains of a costly Roman townhouse, now buried under the city. In this video, we're going to use artifacts from the museum to try and piece together a picture of what life would have been like outside of the townhouse, in the streets of Roman Canterbury. Like the townhouse at the museum, Roman Canterbury wasn't built quickly. It took a lot of time for this place to become a flourishing Roman town. This is a picture made by an artist, and it gives us an idea of what Canterbury would have looked like around 1900 years ago, about 150 years after the Romans first came to Britain in AD 43. The artist got the information to make this picture from various discoveries made by archaeologists. Do you know what an archaeologist does? An archaeologist searches for evidence from the past. Often, archaeologists dig into the ground in the hope of finding artifacts or even historical sites, like the Roman townhouse the museum is built around. You can see the site of the townhouse here in the picture. Here, you can see the sorts of tools used to build Roman Canterbury, very similar to tools still used today. Over the centuries, Canterbury expanded. This is an artist's impression of Roman Canterbury years later. Take a look at the picture and make a note if you have an idea of what some of the buildings are. Did you recognise any of the buildings in Roman Canterbury? You may have seen that in the middle of the city there was a large building in the shape of a semicircle. This is a Roman theatre. What happened in a Roman theatre? The Romans went to the theatre for entertainment. The theatre in Roman Canterbury probably would have staged plays and reenactments. It might have even hosted violent sports like the gladiator contests that were popular in Rome. Did you also notice this building with the large courtyard and statues? What type of place was this? This would have been an important place in Roman Canterbury, the temple. What happened in a Roman temple? Roman temples were not like modern churches, synagogues, or mosques. They were storehouses for a statue of a god and offerings and equipment, not spaces for worship. Religious rituals were actually completed outside it in the precinct. Roman religion was not based on a particular moral code or rules. Sacrifices and other rituals were carried out regularly to keep the gods' favour. In Roman Britain, many deities were worshipped. These included the Roman state pantheon of gods. The Roman authorities also acknowledged some local gods, and they were still worshipped. The Romans would often twin their gods to a local god. Here are some remains of the Roman temple found in Canterbury. The marble is imported from Italy and was delicately carved into classical style columns. There are only 5 known classical Roman temples in the whole of Britain, which suggests that Roman Canterbury may have been an important spiritual place. You may also have seen the surrounding wall built to protect the town, the public baths and the marketplace. The marketplace is an excellent place to learn about life in Roman Canterbury. So let's go there now. Here, you can see the sorts of things that people living in Roman Canterbury would have bought and sold. Archaeologists have found a huge amount of evidence that tells us that lots of different things were made and traded here. The objects on display are made from different materials such as metal, clay, and bone. People in the ancient world would often use the bones from the animals they ate to create objects. It was kind of recycling. Bone naturally bends a little without breaking, which was useful for making things like these hairpins that were used to style the hair of Roman women. Things made from bone were usually less expensive, but sometimes they were decoratively carved. Objects made from metal like this would have been more expensive. But what do you think this object is? This is a Roman brooch made from metal, a copper alloy. People in Roman Canterbury didn't have zips, buttons or toggles to do up their clothing. They relied on fasteners like this brooch, which they called fibulae. Modern archaeologists call this sort of brooch a trumpet brooch because of its shape. This design protected its wearer from getting pricked by the sharp pin. Other accessories and jewellery would have been made and sold in Roman Canterbury. Rich women wore a lot of jewellery, while men would usually restrict themselves to one golden ring. Rich women wore beads made out of precious stones, amber and glass, like these replica beads. The Romans developed all sorts of different ways of colouring glass to make more interesting beads, and some beads were so prized that they were widely traded. They've been found in Mali in Africa, as well as in China and Scandinavia. As well as objects like jewellery and tools, archaeologists also discovered lots of animal bones and oysters shells from the time of Roman Canterbury. These discoveries are useful as they are evidence of the things that people ate in Roman Britain. The marketplace in Roman Canterbury would have been filled with the sights and smells of different foods. This is an oyster bar. People in Roman Britain ate lots and lots of oysters. They were a kind of Roman fast food. Put into containers with salt water, the oysters could be imported into Rome, about 2 weeks sailing, without spoiling. Have you ever eaten oysters before? Oysters from Kent have been enjoyed since Roman times, and historical records tell us that oysters from Britain were actually recognised to be perhaps the best in the Roman Empire. The Romans also enjoyed fruit and introduced a wide variety of fruits to Britain. Apples, as opposed to crab apples, grapes, mulberries and cherries were not grown in Britain before the Romans brought them to the country. However, meat, fish and certain fruits would not have been available to everyone in Roman Canterbury. Grain would have been the staple of most people's diets, as it's less expensive and is high in calories and vitamins. Bakeries would produce bread, like this, sometimes sweetened with honey, and sell it to those without a hearth or oven. Bakers had to use a stamp to identify their bread, so if anyone decided to cheat their customers by selling underweight loaves, they could be easily identified. When it came to storing, preparing and serving food, the Romans made and used different ceramic pots, plates, bowls and other containers. Courseware pots were mostly made for cooking, but some were used at the table. You can sometimes see burn marks on courseware pots from where they were placed in a fire. This is a piece of a broken pot that was probably made locally. There were pottery kilns all around Canterbury which made pottery like this. The Romans had different recipes for cooking various animals. This is a different kind of pottery known as Samian ware. It was usually used to serve food. Which do you think was more expensive? Courseware or Samian ware? Samian ware was more expensive than coarseware. It was sometimes highly decorative and quite expensive. Samian ware was not made in Britain, but in modern-day France and Germany. It was imported to Britain in huge quantities. Samian pottery is a really important tool for working out the dates of Roman sites. Lots of goods were transported into Roman Canterbury from elsewhere in the empire. Amphorae like these were used to transport goods across the Mediterranean. They were designed with a pointed spike as their base, so they could be stood up in racks inside the hold of a ship. These vessels contained foodstuffs including wine, olive oil or fish sauce, and even sometimes preserved fruit and vegetables. These amphorae were all found in Canterbury. They were made in Italy, France and Spain. Some of these amphorae were found underwater, which is why they are covered in barnacles. But to buy any of these goods at the marketplace in Roman Canterbury, someone would have needed money. On coins used in Britain today, you can see the head of a monarch, the king or queen who is head of state. Roman coins often had a portrait of someone on them too. What kind of person do you think appeared on Roman coins? If you said a Roman emperor, you are absolutely right. The emperor was the leader of the entire Roman Empire. An important Roman innovation was the spread of a single currency around the empire, and Roman emperors would use coins to try and influence what people thought of them. It was a form of propaganda. An emperor would often issue coins with designs showing their achievements or demonstrating their power. This coin is from the time of Julius Caesar, who wasn't technically an emperor, he was a dictator. This coin is from the time of Emperor Commodus. You can see his portrait on this side. The reverse of the coin shows Commodus standing on a platform with a scepter in left hand and his right hand raised, commanding a group of his soldiers. This image was intended to assert the emperor's authority. Commodus was actually thought to have been quite odd. He believed he was the reincarnation of the mythical hero Hercules. Roman emperors often wanted to associate themselves with Roman gods. Do you know any Roman gods or goddesses? Many gods were worshipped throughout the Roman Empire. The Roman state pantheon included Jupiter, father of the gods, Mars, god of war, Mercury, messenger of the gods, Neptune, god of the sea, and Venus, goddess of beauty and love. This coin depicts Roma, the goddess of Rome, with her spear and shield. She looks quite similar to Britannia, who appears on some modern British coins. Lots of other things were depicted on Roman coins, including ships, important buildings, gladiators, exotic animals, and mythical beasts. The coins uncovered here in Canterbury help to date some of the finds in the museum. In early Roman Britain, coins would have come from the mint in Rome where they were made. From AD 286, however, Roman coins started to be made in Britain, first in London. What metals do you think the Romans made their coins from? The Romans made coins from a variety of different metals. The most valuable coins were made from gold, silver, and bronze. Other coins were made from copper alloy. One of the most used Roman coins was the silver denarius. In early Roman Britain, an amphora full of wine, for example, would have cost around 75 denarii. But how were Roman coins like these made? Let's find out. These are the tools used by the Romans to mint their coins. They are called dies, and they are made out of steel, a very hard metal. The dies are engraved with the designs for the front and reverse of the coin. To make a coin, you would also have needed metal. At the museum, we use these coin blanks. They are made of a much softer metal than the dies. The coin blank is placed on top of the coin die, showing the reverse of the coin, and the second die placed on top. To make an impression in metal, you need a lot of force, and so the Romans used hammers. The force from the hammer blow travels down the die, pressing the steel engravings onto each side of the coin at the same time. This coin is a replica inspired by a late Roman gold coin called a solidus. The original coin, which was found at Richborough Roman Fort near Sandwich nearly 100 years ago, is now in the museum collection. It was minted during the reign of Honorius, the last emperor of Roman Britain, between AD 393 to 423. On the front is a bust, head and shoulders, of the Roman Emperor Honorius. If you look closely, you can read his name in the inscription. Like real Roman coins, the coins we mint at the museum are all different. This is because of the technology and the process. If you would like to mint your own coin with us, you can book our Roman Technology Workshop and visit the museum in Canterbury. If you have enjoyed travelling back to Roman Canterbury, why not visit the museum or book one of our popular learning workshops? For more resources on Roman Canterbury and on a range of other topics, please visit our website or contact the Museum Collections and Learning team. We hope that you enjoyed this resource. To help us improve our service, we would really appreciate your feedback. The website is canterburymuseums.co.uk. The contact email learning@canterbury.gov.uk.